Welcome to the Breaking Burnout for Nurses podcast. I'm so happy you're here today because I have my special guest back again, Dawn Karaagac. She was on my show. Was it last week or the week before on Monday? And that time we talked about radical self-care, and hot yoga was really the main topic, which I am so excited to do with you, Dawn. Also Dawn has been in the leadership role for over 12 years. And so she has a lot to share with us about preventing burnout from a leadership role. Usually I'm talking about the staff nurses, going through burnout, but actually we have to remember about our leadership. They're going through burnout too. So Dawn is here to share uh, some tips about how to fill that leadership role and avoid nurse burnout. So thank you, Dawn.
Thanks, Bonnie. It's good to be back. And I'm
So,
excited to have you come and do yoga at some point.
Just be a regular on my show.
Okay, let's do it.
So one of the things as a leader and also in a regular nursing position, one of the things is the things that we have to be aware of is setting priorities, getting our priorities right. So what can you share about that for us?
Thanks, Bonnie. There's probably a lot I could go into about this, and a lot of it goes back to that radical self-care, right? And prioritizing, not only understanding what the demands are of your position in leadership, but also taking care of yourself. It goes back to that. And I don't know about you, but when I look around and I specifically look at nursing leaders, there's not a lot of healthy ones. And the ones that I see really have success and don't look like they're frazzled every day and don't look like they're just hanging by a thread are the ones that take care of themselves. They look healthier. And so prioritizing is not just your workload, but prioritizing yourself. I would say that would be probably number one, because it's hard. Leadership is really hard.
Absolutely. And, I know a lot of times I feel for the middle management because they're getting from both sides that they have, from their superiors and also working with the staff that they're guiding. So you get it from both sides, the demands of the job. So you really have to make it a priority. So that goes back to your morning routine and also, your basic self-care strategies, right?
Yeah.
And then so another thing is setting boundaries, and those are very hard to do sometimes because, like I said, people are coming at you from all angles. So you have to be able to learn how to say yes or no, or, So how would you go about doing that, setting boundaries?
Yeah, I can see a high performing leader by how they set boundaries. You can see somebody who's doing a good job right away. And these are the leaders that understand their value and know what they bring to the team and know when they are going to go home for the day, when they're going to report to work, and not just stay at the hospital or your facility for hours on end. Those are really important boundaries. And also boundaries in relationships. Not everybody's going to love you and not everybody's going to like you. And You have to know, even though you love somebody more maybe than the other one,
Yeah.
you
Do you
just
have favorites?
I think we all have favorites, but we can't,
Yes, but
you
you
know,
can't say.
you can't say. And
You can't say it out loud.
no, and you have to really set those boundaries so that people don't see favoritism and don't see that. And obviously you can't control the perception of other people, right? But you have to watch, you have to have boundaries in your actions and in your words. And just set precedent that your job is not your life, and anybody that expects that from you, move on. Your job is your job, just like anybody else, and your life is outside. And sometimes you integrate and make it your life, because sometimes our work people are our family. And so those boundaries, I've found, if people don't respect that balance and respect those boundaries, they probably don't have them in their own life.
Yes, I think, it seems like there are a lot of meetings that management or leadership goes to a lot of meetings. That's what I think of leadership. Oh, they must be in a meeting. And so, um, but you have to set a boundary, don't you, for how many meetings you're going to go to, and how, I mean, which are, I guess that goes back to priorities, because, which meetings do you really have to go to, and,
Yeah.
setting boundaries in that way. I guess you could have every kind of meeting there is, but you have to figure out which ones are the most productive, and the ones that are really what you need to go to. I
True.
don't
And
know.
meetings need to be looked at. I mean, I'm sure there's an organization out there that does a really good job in making sure that agendas are given up front, that communication is clear, that they're very concise and direct in what the plan is and what the outcome should be from that meeting. The most irritating meetings for me are when people just sit in a room and talk and talk and talk. The agenda doesn't specify, this is the goal of the meeting, this is what we need to do, and have a working meeting to come up with a solution to our problem. We need to have very concise 15-minute, 20-minute meetings, and then put them all together in an hour or two a week, and then be done with it. So
Yes, yeah, yes, yes, because have you ever been to a meeting and then you think, well, we could have done that over the phone. We could have done that meeting over a phone, or, we could have done that instead of, for 45 minutes, we could have done that in 20 minutes, or we could have done it over a Zoom call. I didn't have to drive an hour and a half to get to the meeting, So,
absolutely.
and I'm not even in leadership. I think I'm more like venting right now, but just some things that I see, leadership going through. No, I'm not saying pro or con, but just things that you have to deal with. So it's very difficult, and some people are more skilled at it than others.
That's true.
Another thing too that I notice, I mean, it's not just with nurses, it's with leadership, is your time management. Now, how do you deal with your time management? Is it kind of self-regulated, or how do you manage that?
How do I explain myself? So, okay, there are things about getting work done, and that's prioritizing, right? There's some things that deserve your undivided attention, and there's some things that are high priority, and it's knowing yourself. And you got to know when your peak performance time is in the day. Do you do the best from 8 till noon or 8 to 11?
Yeah, that's
right. Do you do better 2 to 4 in the afternoon? So as far as that goes in time management, if you have a pressing issue or something that really needs your focus and attention, you should be doing that in your peak performance time. When your brain, you feel like, yeah, I'm on it. This is when I give my best. That's when you want to put those projects or those conversations or your attention. And that has to take the priority of the day. And you plan your day.
Wow. I love that. I guess I never really think about it that way. Yeah, so I love that point. Because we all have our good times of the day. Like you said, you're not usually a morning person, but you make it that way right now. But even during the day at your job, you realize what your peak times are and where you're more alert and creative and tolerant. you know because you're feeling your best and you can be more productive that way, so you make better decisions and you feel good about it. I love that.
And a big part of time management is organization. Be organized. Like some of the best leaders are the most organized leaders. They have everything in a system. I put everything on a calendar. Put your day, line it up, plan it. Do your work in the beginning of the year to plan your year. You're going to do this by this date. You're going to accomplish this by this date. You're going to round with this employee every week at this date and time. And it's going to be on repeat on your calendar. Whatever it is you need to do, plan it. Because without a plan, it's just a dream if you want you to accomplish anything. And that I feel is a big thing about management, is making sure you prioritize and set your appointments.
Oh, very organized. I like that. Now, another thing is, no matter how organized or priorities that you set and, how organized and good at time management, there's always going to be somebody complaining about you, and maybe not you, but just the way things are happening. People get pissed off about whatever it is for the day, right? There's always something. So, you might feel like they're mad at you, or they don't like the way you do things, or, you feel like they're taking it out on you or something. But I think if you're doing all the time management and the priorities and all that, it's like you can't really take it to heart. They're just not happy in general, but not that it's you, Dawn, that they're unhappy with. Maybe just a situation or something like that. But do you ever feel like, do you ever take it to heart? Like it's something is, they don't like you, or they don't like the way you're doing things, or anything like that. How do you deal with that emotionally? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know exactly. And as much as I tend to be an extrovert, I'm actually an introvert. And so I think
no, I don't think so.
Swear.
You're very, very vivacious, and I wouldn't think of you as an introvert.
Extroverted introvert. So I'm super analytical. So when I think about when somebody does or says something, I immediately am thinking about how I react, what I do. Did I say something right? What am I feeling? How are my emotions? Did I respond right? Okay, do I need to pause and walk away? It's just, it's so quick. And there are times, absolutely, when there are situations you just can't believe it. You just can't believe it. I could tell you stories, and I'm not going to make this stuff up. But
yeah, you could share a story or two.
Okay, so here's one example. And as a leader, I had people say that I've yelled at them. That's out of my character. I would never yell at somebody.
Yeah.
Yep. Right. Okay. So perception, right? About what yelling is. I've had nurses be so upset with me because I didn't see them that day. I didn't find them, talk to them, and make time for them. And
Oh,
they took it personally.
oh,
I had nurses, when I've sent an email, ask me what I really meant by the email, when it was like they're trying to assume things that are between the lines that just aren't there.
oh, yeah,
It just, when you're in a leadership role, it's like there are people that they just kind of, it's us and them kind of mentality, like, oh,
yeah.
we can stick together about her, then we'll exclude her. And you're always kind of on an island a little bit. Like, you never really know what's going on unless you have a person that's going to tell you. So absolutely. And to not take any of that personally,
Yeah,
it's
that's
kind of
hard.
It's hard, but if you know yourself, I feel like I have pretty good emotional intelligence. And I feel like um, I am very empathic, and I have to set a boundary for myself in order to protect myself, because I want to like love and protect and just hug everybody and make things better. That's just my nature.
Yeah,
So I can't believe when somebody, I'm like, what the heck? What I do for you?
yeah,
Like, oh my gosh, can I fix it? How can we make it right?
yeah.
And and so it's hard not to take it personally sometimes, but you just try to make it right, have that crucial conversation, and
Oh, there we go. Crucial conversations. I was
yeah,
going to bring that up next.
okay. Way into it. It's like the perfect opportunity. And
Yes.
it's hard because I've had many hundreds of crucial conversations, whether it's a coaching with somebody about performance, whether it's, hey, why are you ignoring me in the hallway? Is there something that happened? Is there something we need to talk about? Can we sit and talk? Try to work this out, because your relationship here with me at work is really important, and I value working with you. So I would love to just talk about what your perception is and work through any issues that we have. And you got to leave it at that, because you can't fix everything.
Yes. Yes. Well, and sometimes, there might be a misunderstanding, but it gets really busy, and you're both busy, and you don't have time for that conversation at the moment. So it might be put off for a later time, but then maybe you circle around later when there is a minute or two where you could say, hey, let's, iron it out or set things straight or something like that.
Yeah. And giving that cool off period. I think time
Yes.
is powerful. My go-to whenever somebody's escalated and wants to do something, right? They come in
Yes.
there, I can't do this. I need to send this email. And I say, just sleep on it. Or I'm going to quit. Just sleep on it.
Yeah.
Just sleep on it, please.
Yes.
And then talk about it later.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. Well, I quit before, but then, you just get some good sleep and you go back to work the next day, right?
That's right. Right.
You've had those times, right? And you're like, I quit.
I have. Yes, I have.
Yes. And then you just get up and go back to work.
We do. And we do it because truly, it's because I love what I do. I just love it.
Yes.
And it's because I just love people and I love to help. And it's just kind of like, that is part of what fills my bucket. So me caring and loving and helping and leading is part of what fills me up. So I'm in the right role. I'm in the right thing. Like, I love nursing. I could have picked maybe a different career, but I feel like nursing is a pretty amazing, powerful, fulfilling career.
Yes, I think so. Well, for me too, I always say I've mostly loved nursing, right? There's always going to be a little glitch here and there, but for the most part, it's really a fantastic career for us. So we're both lucky that we got into that. So anyway, Dawn, this time flies by so fast. And I just want to thank you again for being on my show and sharing your thoughts about being in the leadership role and preventing nurse burnout from that perspective. So a lot of time I don't think about that because I'm not in the leadership role, but it's just as important and very powerful because you influence so many people around you. So thank you again for being on my show. And everybody, please go to my website, breakingburnout.com, and you'll see my podcast tab there and get more information about the podcast. And Dawn, I might invite you back again, so just be ready.
Okay, we love it. Thank you,
There's
Bonnie.
always something to share. So anyway,
Yeah.
thank you everybody for joining us. Oh, so let me mention about the podcast. So the podcast is on, a lot of podcast platforms like Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Music, but we're also on YouTube. So, sometimes I'll say something, as if you can watch me, because I'm forgetting that you might not know that we're on YouTube, on the new YouTube channel. So that's something to consider, checking out the YouTube channel, Breaking Burnout for Nurses podcast. And then you can see our little smiling faces too. And then you can subscribe and you can share and all those things. All right. So thank you again, everybody, and we'll see you next Monday. Bye.